Hi guys, this is TSF, and today we're going to be reviewing He-Man, or otherwise Masters of the Universe, Part 2. We're just going to be joined by Mubarak in about a few seconds. He just has a few technical issues going on, I guess. But yeah. What are you supposed to be?
I'm Orko, the little wizard dude from the show.
Oh my god. I mean, I have several things to say, but oh my god. Is it becoming like a theme for you to just cosplay any character that comes across, like, in a show or something?
If I have the pieces, yes. Okay. Hold up. Let's put a picture of Orko up here right now. Okay.
Yeah, we'll put that so you can just compare. Like, the resemblance is uncanny at this point. Like, it's
Yeah, this is the
literally
best I could do.
like, this is literally the best live action Orko you guys will ever see.
Well,
Oh
it was
man,
either the mask or blackface. So
nah, we don't want to do
that.
that. We don't want to do that. Let's not create controversy right from the start. But damn,
Yeah.
man. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this review with you looking like this. Because I'm gonna be imagining Orko's voice coming from you, and then it's your own voice or something. So, and I wouldn't want you to keep on doing Orko's voice, because that would strain your vocal cords like anything. But holy shit, man! Wow, wow. Anyways, let's just get started from Masters of the Universe Part 2. So yeah, a finale, if you will, to the reboot of He-Man, or otherwise, in this case, it's Masters of the Universe, because the focus is not just on He-Man per se. But I guess it was a decent show. It wasn't as bad as people are complaining, but I would say it wasn't that good either. Like, not like getting out of the park, but it was still a boundary, if you think about it, like maybe a
Hmm.
4, if you will.
Yeah.
But so we'll start off. Like, what were the things that you really liked about the show?
Okay, so they started this off. Part one started off with removing He-Man from the equation, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe this is a new thing they're gonna explore, because the show was Masters of the Universe. I'm
Not
like, oh,
He-Man.
yeah, not He-Man. So I was like, and I haven't watched the original '80s show. Have you?
No, I haven't. I'm
Uh,
unfortunately. I actually have watched it, but that was the time, like, probably I didn't even know English, and so I would just be looking at the characters' faces. So, like, okay, he's angry. Okay, he's sad. Oh, he dead. Probably like that.
yeah, I didn't get to watch the original series. I was too young for that, probably.
Probably,
And
yeah.
yeah, so I understand how they had to connect this to the older franchises, but then it had this been like a full reboot of sorts, this could have worked, for more than 2 parts. But then it's like it feels like a sequel to that, a sequel to something I've never watched. So I don't know all these references and all these characters coming in. I don't know what's going on. It was neat. It was decent. It wasn't bad. And the people
Yeah,
complaining, I guess those were the '80s fans who were like, "Yo, where's He-Man? Why is a woman in charge?" And incels and all those other people.
probably yes, because there was a focus on probably fleshing out the characters who were involved. Because I understand, like, as in other 80s cartoons, you have one lead who shines throughout the series, and you don't get much of the backstory of the side characters. But it's only now that we have been interested. Like, we would like to know more about Man at Arms. We would like to know more about the Sorceress. We would like to know more about Eva Lynn or something. And it was
Yeah.
interesting to get their stories as well, because you can understand and empathize with them. Like, okay, this is where they came from. This is probably what their story is. But apart from that, what else did you like?
Okay, so I really thought that they would remove the silliness of the '80s cartoons. How every episode, I'm assuming, ends with Skeletor being defeated, and then he comes back the next episode. He's trying to do his old thing again. Good guys win, bad guys lose, sort of thing. I expected them to have like a gray area in this, where you know but then they just every time they built something up, they just destroyed it almost immediately.
Right. Yeah. I so
Yeah,
agree there. I so agree
yeah,
there. And even though we're supposed to be talking about things that we like, it's just that it's impossible for us to not ignore those things. Because, like, for example, case
yeah.
in point, just to support your argument,
Hmm.
the He-Man Hulk situation that we had,
Yeah,
and you would really like to see more of that fight go on, but it was hardly like 3 4 hits and that was it. Like
that was
that
it
that was
exactly.
that was it, and all of a sudden they're just teleported out. I understand, of course, it was needed, but the severity of it, like, you don't get to understand, like, okay, this is He-Man gone berserk. Like,
Mm,
this is going way out of proportions, and you're literally walking that line of being a 13 plus 18 plus PG versus R-rated version of that whole thing. So I do agree with your point. Like, they would build something up and you go like, yay, and then suddenly it's gone, and I'm like, come on.
exactly. Yeah. What about you? What did you like or dislike about this?
Okay, what I did like was that they were catering to the 80s fan as well as trying to bring new fans into this thing, like you said. You can sort of see the 80s influence with all the puns and everything, because puns were a huge thing, and pretty much
Mm,
every animated show had them. So that was like one of the main sellers. So that's something that was there. Skeletor's goofiness combined with his whole evil thing going on, that was something that I enjoyed a lot, but it was something that also sort of doesn't make you take him seriously as a
seriously.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the tone of the entire thing, you keep on questioning, is Skeletor the bad guy or is Skeletor the comic relief or what? Especially at the end when
Mm,
Skeletor just out of the blue he just attacks He-Man or something. I'm just like, that's a bit too forced if you think about it. That's a bit too forced.
also,
Like, all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, opportunity." No, I mean, that was a very good point. That was a very good point. If they had come out with his whole cunningness, his whole clever plan, like, yeah, this was all my plan all along. I wanted you to defeat her so I can get my powers back, and then I can defeat you and all of that stuff. So I don't know.
also with Mark Hamill being the voice of Skeletor, it feels like he brought the Joker into the character itself rather than just the voice. Because at a lot of times he sounded like the Joker, and I understand it's Mark Hamill,
It's
iconic
his
for
voice.
yeah, it is his voice. But then it feels like he brought his mannerisms into Skeletor as well. And I don't have any experience with the old Skeletor from the 80s, so for me this is like it felt like that for me. So when he did that classic betrayal thingy, that's like a classic Joker move, where he teams up and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stab you, Batsy," and then he does that.
Did you just say that in Orko's voice? Did you just say that in the Orko's voice?
I
I swear
I
that
actually
sounded
tried
like
to
Orko.
I tried a Joker voice, but obviously I'm not the voice actor you are, so it's gonna end up like Orko.
It sounded so adorable, like Orko is the one who defeats He-Man. Oh man, but I do agree, like, with the cast being stellar as it is, and the thing is, Skeletor's appearance and everything, you with Mark Hamill especially, you can't go Fire Lord on him.
Mhm.
Like, for example, even in we're gonna digress a bit, but even in back in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Fire Lord Ozai
Ozai.
burned Zuko's eye, and he says, like, stand up and fight Prince Zuko. That's exactly like the Joker, like how it is, but it's just that it's not Mark's fault. It's kind of like how we have sort of related his voice with, Joker. Particularly if Kevin Conroy was to play another role, we can't unsee that character as Batman. So it's kind of like a voice
Exactly.
actor's, I wouldn't say plight, but it's kind of like a drawback. Like, if even if you're voicing new characters, it's just like people are just gonna keep on relating you with the older ones.
It's
So it's not a deal breaker, but it does, like, you go like, oh man, I
it
can't unsee the Joker
takes you
here.
out of the flow. Yeah, exactly. It takes you out of the flow occasionally. Another voice acting gripe I have here, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I mean, again, not her fault. That's
Ooh,
her real voice. It does
ooh,
not match Tila's. And I guess this is
attire.
actually not her fault. I would blame the character design team for this. They made Tila look too buff for that voice. Like, when you put on a little muscle, your voice gets deeper naturally. You have more lung space and all that. Because that's what happened to me when I started working out. I went from a squeaky voice to the voice I have now, and then you know. So it feels like that should have been a natural thing, that they could have used someone with a little more lung power
Like Ronda
for
Rousey or
Tila.
something? Like Ronda
No, not
Rousey?
that much. No, not
Overweight?
that much lung power. Little less. Like
I
a
wouldn't
midway.
say. I mean, like, just for I mean, it's kind of like how, of course, the character was approached. Like, sometimes people are buff, but they have like a slightly, higher voice or something. I do agree, like, once you start working out and everything, things change and everything. But the gripe I have about Tila isn't the voice itself. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar, my childhood crush. So I mean, I'm a bit
Childhood.
biased here.
Wait,
I'm a bit
childhood?
biased. I mean, we all had our
Yeah.
time to sing. So, but yeah, going back to it, like what I did have a gripe was that while I really liked Tila being this very, very strong woman and at the same time being vulnerable, it was just that she was vulnerable at sort of like the wrong points
Mm,
of the whole thing. Like there's a battle going on and you're just like there's time there's like there's time sensitive things happening and you don't have much choice but to go with the flow and everything. But particularly like people are firing on you and you're just having a heartfelt emotional conversation with your dad, like how you're going to do it and everything. I mean, um could have been a better moment to do that. It's just like, come
yeah.
on, like people are firing. And I like how like those two thugs or whatever you want to call them, I'm forgetting their names, but they're just firing at the same person and that same person is just firing back and both are missing each other. Like there's not one of the shots is hitting the wall either. Like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a weird
It's how
detail.
it is. But what I really didn't like was how Evelyn had this character progression, which was just like very haphazard. Like initially, you see her going from being Skeletor servant to finally questioning, like, okay, this guy isn't gonna lead us anywhere, and probably maybe I should assume command and everything. And given what we have from part one, we know evil Lynn has a good Lynn side as well.
Yeah.
So what I expected was like, once she sort of defeated Skeletor, she might have just like had a change of hearts, like try to put everything back to normal and everything. But no, she pretty much decimates heaven. So I'm just like, where did that come from? What did Fraternia do to you? There was no explanation. Like, bro, what did they do to you? They're just chilling there, having their fun. But no, yep, you gone.
No,
So
but here's the
I
thing. What there is no other way to write this. Like, what's going to be your main conflict? What is going to bring in the action or whatever was happening in the '80s show?
true.
They had to make that turn. There was no other way. Either you have Skeletor finally become OP and then have him as the big bad and then have one massive showdown where everyone's against him, instead of making Evil Lynn the big bad and then having everyone turn against her. I mean, they could have done something like that. And I
True.
don't know. I don't see the point of her being good if they're just gonna make her bad, right?
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. I mean, all the thing trying to bring the sorceress in this
Mhm.
scenario, and then leading up to that battle, eventually, this is literally like the Last of Us 2 situation where they both just kick the shit out of each other, and then finally some flowers bloom, and suddenly they're like, "Yeah, we're cool, we're chill, we're really good, and everything." Everything's goody two shoes. Yeah, you can of course go to the desert and I don't know, have a good new life and everything. I'm like, she just kind of killed, people. So I don't know
Mhm.
where you're getting off with that, but okay. I mean, are you telling me that the night creatures or the undead that she raised, they didn't kill any villagers like in that war that was just going on? And I'm like, yeah, right. But then again, what another thing we need to understand is like, shows don't go into that much depth. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's end of the day, it's for a different target audience as compared to us. Like, it's supposedly teens, a little bit early 20s and all of that, all of those guys, and a little bit of the fans of the show from the 80s, because no way would they have that scene with Skeletor and Evil Lynn in a in a children's
Yeah.
show, because that scene
Yeah.
was just out of nowhere. I'm like, interesting. How does Skeletor even kiss? I was like that. I like you're just kissing teeth at this point. I'm like,
um,
okay. I'm like, okay, this is happening. I'm like, okay. I was excited, but okay. Like they robbed us from that one too. But yeah, what were the things that although you have said pretty much everything that you didn't like, but what other things are there?
I liked how it was more technology based. I
Mhm.
don't know if you've seen the Thundercat reboot, the one where they have like technology and all that, the 2011 one, not the
Yeah.
chibi one. The
No, no,
one
no, no. The 2011 one was really good. It was really,
like
really, really well.
I honestly expected that from this Masters of the Universe, where they'd have a reboot for the new people, but then it's more technology based, so like it would flow better. But then they just, I don't know, they just went back to the 80s and then made it goofy again. I really expected something like the Thundercats. Like if this was a brand new
They
show. No, as in they made it a sequel of that. That's what I'm trying to say. Had they made this
fair
its
enough.
own
Fair enough.
a standalone thing, a reboot, I would have loved this show. I would have watched. I don't know. I'd have keep watching this show. They tease a part 3 with that post
I
credit scene.
I feel the same way. Like, probably this
Yeah.
is something that's gonna happen because of how Skeletor meets his end, or probably a beginning of a new thing. Although I would really like them to start going into the reboot part more than just like
Mm-hmm.
catering to the 80s, because even though
Yeah.
Thundercats did cater to the classic fans as well, but they were like, yeah, we're a different show because this time they're showing Lion-O's dad and everything,
Progression.
and all of that progression. So you need that hint. Technology, yeah, it was there, but again, they sort of need to draw the line, like, okay, what is magic, what is technology, and what is
Mm,
human. So
I
there's
understand that.
that.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we have for this. What would you rate this show?
7.5. It's a good show.
Damn.
Not fantastic. Okay. And this is I also have a 7.5 for part 1. I liked it. I'm not one of those incels that are like, oh no, there's a woman in charge. We can't have that. No,
That
no.
that was just weird. Like, honestly, like we
Yeah.
didn't even get that. Like like okay, like aside from all that criticism and everything, I for once am open to like seeing a strong female character become the lead of an established show where it was more male dominated, you could say,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
pretty much it was the premise. But here, like, they're written really well, but it's just that uh the story and how the progression is made is something that just at times it feels rushed, but and at the
Mm.
same time it doesn't offer you that much development. So yeah, my score is pretty much the same. It's 7.5 as well. So like, not that good, not that bad. It's definitely a good engaging watch. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Fun
like, it's
watch.
5 episodes. Yeah, it's a fun watch. 5 episodes of part two, just like, that's just like 1 hour and a half. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, it's a good watch, I would say. So 7.5 would be our last rating for this cumulatively, I would say. But yeah, I guess that was it. Do you have anything more to add?
No. Can you do a goodbye in Skeletor's voice? Because you can do the Joker.
I'll go for
I
the
assume.
life of me. I can try. I can give it a try, but like, it would be just the Joker coming out of me or something. Like, it's like, well, friends. Oh no, this is totally Joker. This is
Yeah,
totally
yeah, but it's the
Joker.
same thing. It's Mark Hamill. Go for it. And
It's
I'll
Mark
do it.
Hamill.
I'll do a goodbye as Orko. Let's go. You
Well, that is
first.
it for TSF. We will see you in the next review of our podcast. See you later.
Goodbye.
I'm not gonna get over it. Take care, guys. See you.